value of being involved in this company as an investor begins to multiply because you, as an investor, will be giving first opportunities to invest in the auxiliary spin-offs that are consequentially associated with what we're up to. So we're not only about the movie, but we're about the game that goes along with it. We're not only about the game that goes along with it, but the merchandising that accompanies it. We're not only about the merchandising that accompanies it, but we're about the exploitation, if you will, of the marketplace in all the auxiliary mobile opportunities that are arising, all the carry-ons that are the new medium for enjoying content. You're going to be part and parcel of a company that has many facets. Just like to be able to compete in this oligarchy, we have to do things similar to what they're doing. So it's not rocket science, but it's great people doing great things. The impact, huge. For one example, Pixar's movie called Cars. Everybody couldn't really understand why they went with their lowest revenue maker. Cars did the lowest of their grosses when they picked that movie to go forward with. But they announced quickly afterwards that it did $8 billion in gross gross merchandise sales. While the whole market in America is $10 billion at the box office. So there's one little film here which is a really high return because merchandising is a very high gross margin and profitability. Pulls in $8 billion in merchandising, which for all ostensible purposes, when you add up that and there are other merchandising arms of Toy Story, for example, did close to $3 billion as we now speak in merchandising. It's this merchandising arm that becomes a real revenue generator. Moreover, this industry, and you as an investor, will be entitled to take positions as a preferred investor on the production side. You will be, first opportunity will be to you to get there, to understand how we've thought through your relationship with the company as a potential investor. 2 or 3 years down the track, we put the 2 to 3 years depending upon market conditions, we go out with a secondary offering. And that secondary offering, which is generated and already planned and contemplated, will then open up what we had done for those 2 to 3 years to the open marketplace, still private, to be able to determine what the new predetermined value beyond the scheduled value increases that take place as a result of your investment, if you're taking a step-by-step approach. Briefly, there are certain percentage upticks to the total amount of investment pricing as we go through the 5 years, as we appreciate the value of what we're growing. In the first year, there's the discount price at 15 cents. And if you're not on the discount basis, it's 30 cents. Second year is 40 cents. Third year is 51 cents. Fourth year is 73 cents. And the last, 126. That's the level of appreciated value of the pricing of the shares that you'd be buying if you take the conservative approach over the 5-year development of the movie. If you're all in and cash up front, it's a 15 cent and you stay there and you don't take a price rise and you enjoy that equity appreciation while we grow, so that there's 2 ways to go. And you can take a piece of either one. So if you want to have a little bit of the wild side and put your money all in, you can do that, or you can take the step-by-step graduation. So a happy medium you can fit and take as much as you like on the high risk and lesser on the step-by-step as we grow into it and our value increases. So I want to tell you a little bit more, be outside of the money side and the upsides of that. Well, that's interesting, and it totals all up on the risk side 600%. And so that's uninterrupted value appreciation. If you're a fund and you're trying to impress the world that you're good in terms of the investments that you make and how your value of your fund is increasing, and therefore they should put more money into you, we're your baby. Literally, we don't have a profit test for 5 years. So you're guaranteed on the book, reported by the most respected, if you will, listed company in the world that does front, middle, and back end management, giving you your evaluations year after year for the first 5 years, stayed at around 600% by the time you're done. So during that period you're holding your investment, you're guaranteed a 600% paper return. Now, forget about that for a minute. That's the floor. There is, in the third year, this mark-to-market that I started discussing with you. So we reserve 5% of the total amount of shares once they're determined after the depository phase. We reserve at least 5 to 10%. All this information, by the way, is inside the information memorandum. That 5 or 10, 15%, you as an investor will also have a right to bid, much like Google and Facebook, but not publicly, privately. So what happens here is we go out and we say to you, the investor, all right, what are you prepared to pay for 5% more of what you've already committed to? And give us a price, a bid price. It's called an open IPO in the terminology when it's used for a public offering. It's never been used in a private sense. We intend to employ it in a private sense. So it's an open private offering. That will determine not only from you as an investor what you're prepared to pay, from what the scheduled payments are that I've just rehearsed or reiterated to you on that step-by-step basis, so that at that point in time, 50% of that offering will be offered to third parties for verification as well. So at that point, if it should go up, and this is a crazy industry, it defies all rules. When I say that, I give you 2 examples. DreamWorks, one of our would-be, hopefully, colleagues in this business, went out with an IPO to raise $650 million. Was oversubscribed by 15 brokers. This is back in the middle 1990s. When it was oversubscribed by these 15 brokers, they called for more. In other words, a secondary offering out in that marketplace. They did it on the back of $200 million worth of unaudited losses. Unheard of. Why? Well, why did they have the losses to begin with? They were in the real film business. DreamWorks didn't start out as only animation. It started out in the real film business along with animation. And everybody knows the film business, or should know, that normally you're going to lose your shirt. You're going to lose money because movies don't make money, except for our sector. That's a whole different story. It's the opposite of that. Our sector has consistently delivered. 80% of the products of over 100 movies since 1995 have cut the mustard. That's why we call it a sweet spot of an industry. That's why we're fortunately involved in it. And so that's why you have the opportunity to possibly get involved with us as well. And this is why we're a good opportunity, because you're ground floor. With us, you're ground floor. So, going back to the second and third year offering, as we talked about, this offering then can establish a new floor price. So the 600% that we're talking about, and the other 200%, if you're dovetailing in conservatively according to the accomplishments and milestones that we reach over the 5-year period, should that go to what Pixar was doing before it sold to Disney? Sold for around $8.3 billion after 7 of these movies to Disney. Up to that point, they were splitting the net, or the net profit 50-50. So what I'm pointing out to you is prior to that, it was trading 60 times earnings. 60 times earnings, that's what the price share of that company was doing in the marketplace. So what does that mean in historical perspective around what we're doing? Very little. It gives you an idea of the potential and gives you an idea of that unknown quality of product that stems back even more in history. Disney raised Sleeping Beauties, they called them. They were corporate bonds, 99-year payment schedules. in Japan who love to put them on the walls and decorate their walls. Why? It's not just the decoration. It's just not that. It's you want to be involved in an industry that's going to be important in forming the future of children's horizons. And that's what we have to offer. That's what we hope we're delivering here. We're not just delivering a money-making proposition. We're delivering something that's going to be meaningful for children, us as children, as adults, meaningfully delivering something that the world can unite around and children can share stories in the world over. And by establishing a firm basis of joy in the workplace, we hope to accomplish that. We hope you see that that is a really true value add-on in our investment. Now, we're going to point out one other thing and tag it on there. This value investment comes as a result of the Australian government posturing back 40% of our expenditure. So conceivably, if you look at this investment from that vantage point, $2 billion, we've already got $600 million committed from the Australian government. Where do you find that? In a profitable industry that we're talking about, returns 13 times at the box office, up to 13 times at the box office of the budget itself. This is a unique opportunity. This is a big ask, no question. But do we have the ingredients to conceivably make this one of the best speculative investments you've ever taken on? That's for you to decide. We hope you decide in favor of taking that leap with us. We look forward to having you on our journey with us.